Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how I keep my kit super clean and how I work safely and hygienically. So one of the first things I do when I get to set is I give my table a wipe down, and I just use these Dettol antibacterial wipes, and that way you know that your surface has no nasties on it and it's going to be super clean. I then pop my towel down and then I go wash my hands. So it's really important that you wash your hands before you open your kit, because that way you know that your kit is super sterile and there's nothing from the outside world that's going to be getting into your kit. One of the things that I've started to do now is have all of my pallets and spatulas sanitized in a Ziploc bag. So at the end of each job, I give them a spritz over, just like this, making sure that it's nice and clean. And you wipe them down and then you pop them into your bag. And then I like to open that in front of my clients so they see that I'm being super hygienic and safe. So I have two mix-in pallets. One is from Scotty's and one is from Crown Brushes. They're just the same. And these are what I use to decant my products. I also have in here a spatula and also a hand palette. So this is a super handy hand palette from AH Cosmetics. The great thing about this is you don't need to use the back of your hand when using products. So you may see in some of my earlier videos that I was using the back of my hand. So this is something that makeup artists have done for generations, but due to the new COVID restrictions, you do need to be careful with using any products directly onto your hand. So those early videos were filmed pre-COVID, just to let you know. The other thing that I've discovered for if you like to use the back of your hand is these super handy little sanitized wipes. So these are from Glamcore and these are really fun. So again, it's just another way you can show that your clients are keeping really clean. And these just peel off and they go on the back of your hand like so. And then you can peel it off. And then that gives you a perfectly sterile mix-in palette that you can use on the back of your hand if you can't quite get away from using your hand as a palette. So that's a good little trick that I use. So I'll show you how I decant my products to keep my kit super clean. I always use my spatula, so this has been sterilized, but you can obviously give it another spritz over before you dip it into any of your products and make sure that it's nice and clean. That way that you know that you're not transferring any bacteria. And then you just use your spatula to pick up the product that you need, making sure that the lid always goes back on, and then you can use it safely onto your palette and you know that that's nice and clean. So I'm going to show you how I sanitize my liners. So I use these Beauty So Clean cosmetic wipes. These are great because you can just use these in between each client and you know that your products are going to be safe, and it also gives your client the satisfaction of knowing that you're being super hygienic. So you just get the wipe and then you just twist around lip liners, eyeliners, any sort of cosmetic that you need to sterilize, and now that's safe to use on your client's face. The other thing that I love from the Beauty So Clean range is their cosmetic sanitizing spray. So this is essential for your powders, because obviously if you're dipping your brush into your powders and then onto the client's face, you want to make sure that your powders are super sterilized. So you can just open your powders and then just spray after each client the spray, and that sanitizes your eyeshadows and any sort of powder. One of the things I like to do for my clients, this sounds a bit funny, but the air can carry germs and bacteria. So if you can just spray around your clients in the beginning, it just helps to create an antibacterial layer almost. And this is also great to use on your hands. This is just a natural hand sanitizer by Thank You. And I always like to sanitize my hands in front of the client so they know that you're keeping safe. So I have some other hand sanitizers that I like to use. This is by Young Living. So this is a natural hand sanitizer which has clove oil in. This smells amazing, and if you're using hand sanitizer a lot, you do need to look after your own hands. So using something a little bit more gentle is always a good option. So keeping my brushes clean is obviously one of the most important things that you need to do. As a makeup artist, I've always washed my brushes. So I like to use the Sard Wonder Soap. This is a stain removing antibacterial soap, and I just run it under the tap, and with your dirty brush, I load up, clean each brush individually and then leave them to dry. Once your brushes are all clean and dry and you pop them back into your brush container, I then just like to give them a little spray with a brush cleanser just very lightly, and that way you know that they are super sterile and super clean, ready for the next person. If you do need to use a brush in between clients, then you can use an alcohol-based spray. I like to use the Scotty's brush cleaner. So this is one that I've had for years, and it's just, you know that the brushes are gonna be clean. It is an alcohol-based cleanser, so you do need to be careful with your brushes because obviously alcohol over time will damage your brushes slightly. So it's best to wash them, but if you need to use them in between clients, then you know that that's gonna be safe. Another cool thing I found recently is by Fenty Beauty. This is a brush cleanser. So this is great to remove powder buildup in between each client. So if you're starting out and you don't have 100 brushes that you have to use, you can actually use this to get rid of any excess buildup of product and then go back into the same client. So that way you don't need to have lots of different brushes. You do then need to make sure that you sanitize and cleanse the sponge after use. If you need a brush cleaner that's a little bit more smaller and compact, I found this one at Sephora. This is great, super cheap, and you can just carry this around with you. Another one that I like to use in my kit is the Makeup Forever one. This is an instant brush cleanser. This is slightly more oily, so it's good for breaking down any heavy duty makeup. And another one that I also carry is the Thieves Young Living Essential Oil. Now this again is just a great antibacterial cleanser that you can have in your kit, and it smells amazing, and I just like to spray it over everything to keep everything nice and clean. Okay guys, so always make sure that you're operating under local health guidelines and restrictions, and making sure that you keep your work practices safe and hygienic.